This stuff has helped me so much that I have to feel like I should just keep sharing in case it hits somebody's ears. Even though nobody probably listens to these, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Wanted to touch on this thing from a course and then whatever comes after that, whatever. But there's this sentence in the course, page 171. It says, "The ego arose from the separation, and its continued existence depends on your continuing belief in the separation." I love that sentence. That sentence hits so hard for me, especially the first part. The ego arose from the separation. I don't love the word ego because it's super convoluted, but let's say the mental process or something like this, individuality or whatever. It says that arose from the separation. To me, that means that from what we are arose what Ramana would probably call the I, yeah, or the I, yeah, let's say the I, meaning the sense, like the initial sense of individuality. So the ego or the mental process or everything else arose from the separation. The I would be the separation, and then everything else comes from that I. I really love this because Paul Hederman talks about this a lot in his talks, where it's like everything comes after what you're identified as, essentially. So if you're identified as the separation, meaning the sense of individuality, the I that the ego arises to, we're going to live as that thought system that arises after the separation. That's so beautiful because it catches it just so succinctly for me. Yeah. And then its continued existence. The thing is that the I that arises out of what we are, which is what they're calling the separation in this sense, is the illusion. That's the illusory sense of individuality. Everything that arises after that can only arise because of that sense of separation. Yes? And it arises and reinforces that sense of separation. So that sense of separation, that I, is taking what you and I are, let's say awareness, which is quite vast, quite open, very relaxed, and it's putting it into a tunnel of I. And then everything that happens is referencing that I. This is why in spiritual practice things can get a little confusing, I feel, because we spend all of our time trying to dissolve or change or morph the ego, yet we're never looking at the I. And that's really what I've found in my experience, even through alcoholism or music or sex or money or anything that's coming up, anything that I'm using, yeah, to get space from, let's say, the ego or the mental process, it always kind of re-arises because I never saw that sense of separation, the I. I never looked at that. I was looking from it. Yeah, I was living as it, let's say. And then changing the contents of experience doesn't matter because the experiencer was still sitting there in the end with all the same shit that it went into the experience, yeah. So music, let's say, didn't work well enough, so then it went to alcoholism, and then alcoholism and depression, those didn't work out good. So now I'm going to go into spirituality and on and on and on. Yeah, so the ego, the sense, the mental system and all of its mayhem arises from the separation. There needs to be an initial sense of separation. There needs to be a sense of my, and then everything takes off from that platform. Yes. This is why it's way better to forget the thoughts and all of those things and look right at the my. Look at the sense of separation and see if it's actually there, if anything's real in that sense, because that is the illusory sense. And that's where we end up getting caught. Yeah? Because we don't look at the I. The I, it's almost like the I is looking at all the contents and trying to change all that shit. Yeah. And then its continued existence. So the I's continued existence depends on the continuing belief in the separation. Wow. Everything that comes after that I is then reinforcing that that I is real. So if we don't look at that I, that's going to keep getting reinforced, and our belief continues on and on and on and on. Yeah, that's amazing, man. That sentence really cracks because it looks at the root of the issue being the separation or the sense of me, my, I. Yeah, everything else arises from that. Wow. And then what arises from that, in my experience, this isn't overbearing for everybody, but for a lot of us, especially in addiction recovery, that ego or mental system is looking at a world which is seeing as fearful because of its separation, because me and others. So it's looking at, it's seeing through fearful eyes or anxious eyes. It might not actually be fear, like the emotion of fear, but anxiety for sure. Yeah. So then what's it tried to do is the mental system tries to control the environment, which it cannot do. And it will keep attempting to control the environment, just like it tries to control spiritual practice and is claiming all of this shit to control it. And it can't do it, so it gets more and more anxious until that becomes super fucking uncomfortable. Yeah. And then we try to get out of that discomfort. This is a real crack. We try to get out of that discomfort as it. Yeah. We try to get out of the mental system as the mental system. Try to get out of the body as a body, and it just doesn't, never works. You can't do it. It doesn't work. Yeah. The key is that you come before the separation. You're there already when the separation occurs, when the sense of individuality arises. So if we're continually identified with the I, then we're identified with what arises to that I. And on and on and on. Yeah. And as we know, the head, the mental system, is claiming everything it comes in contact with, and it says it's happening to what? The separation, the I. Yeah. Yeah. So the mental system is looking at a world in anxiety, and it says now that anxiety that's in the mental system by trying to control the world that it can't fucking control is now your anxiety. Now you're anxious. Yeah. And then it becomes a problem for a lot of us. We really want to get out of that, which is really quite funny when you look at it through the non-duality lens, because you're not in it in the first place. Yeah. There is no it. The thing is. Yeah, it's the illusion of the separation. Yeah. So let's say the mental process, or what they're saying is the ego, it's a happening, but the question really is who's it happening to? Where's the separation? Yeah. And then they're saying that its total existence depends on your belief in it. Yeah, so if you withdraw the belief in the separation, then the whole fucking thing will topple. And then there you are, just kind of hanging out, I guess. Just way more chilled out, I guess, in my experience. Yeah. I mean, Annamalai Swami talked about this same thing. Yeah, about this lack of needing to lose these wrong ideas about yourself. It's belief. It's a belief that we're putting into the. What we are is always there. Awareness is always there, open. Yeah, untouched. What arises out of that, a sense of separation, individuality. Let's call it I. The mental system, or what they're saying is ego. I don't like that, but mental system, perception, world, all of that comes after that separation of I. This is why inquiry and negation are super important, because it goes straight to the I. Yeah, leave all the other shit that comes after the I alone and go right to the root of the tree. Yeah, and inquire into its reality. Because as Ramana says, being ourselves reality, meaning that you are your own reality right now. Yes, the biggest mystery is reality, using reality to look for itself. But that first part is really important, being ourselves reality, meaning that you are that now. Yeah. Then what happens, that separation happens, the I the sense of I arises, then all the mental shit reinforces that it's happening to someone called you. You want out of that. So now we're trying to use the separation and the mental system and all that things that arise, which we're taking to be ourselves, let's say the head, we begin to use that to look for what you already are, which is reality. And it's very uncomfortable to live as not reality, meaning the head or whatever arises after that separation. Yes? Because it's super confusing. The mental system is really agitated. Yeah, it's very confusing, and that's why it sees the world as anxious, because it's putting meaning on all this shit that doesn't inherently have any meaning. And it's very confused. And so now it wants to get out of confusion. But if you're identified as the mental system or as the separation, you're trying to get to know thing as a thing. You're trying to become nobody as a body. And it doesn't work. Self cannot get out of self. It's like the 12 steps. The play of the higher power is super important. Why? Because the lower power has failed. It has failed. Yes? The lower power, let's say the head, the individuality, the sense of self with small s. Yeah. Yeah. Because I see this with people in my life where they're trying to control every fucking aspect of what's going on. Yeah. Not only does it make others uncomfortable, but it makes them super uncomfortable. And then they're trying to get out of that, which is understandable because it's a really shitty thing to feel that you're in when you're not actually in it in reality. There's not really a you there to be in it, but you feel there's a sense of being in it for sure. And trying to control circumstances it never works. It's like they say in the big book of AA, you're trying to direct the play, let's say, and have it work out exactly how you want to have it work out, and it never does. It never does. Yeah, life is like a flowing river, and you're trying to like catch it. It's like blowing wind that you're trying to put into a bottle or something. It doesn't happen that way. Yeah. Mm. I really, this sentence is so good because it's like the ego arose from the separation. So just go straight to the separation. Leave out the mental system and the head because all of the contents of that is going to be changing and shifting all the time. It's usually actually the same bunch of patterns in my experience, but they just keep showing up differently with different reference points. If you're chasing it, you're never going to get out of it. Actually, you're just reinforcing that you are it if you're trying to get out of it as it, you see? You're giving it a lot of power by trying to get out of that system as it, because you're just reinforcing your identification with it. Yeah. But just go right to the separation. Inquire into the I. Does it exist? Where is it in the body? Yeah. Is there something there which this mental system is arising to? What is trying to control life? What is trying to manipulate? Really importantly, what is trying to get out of the discomfort that it feels that you're in? Because being ourselves reality, meaning that the gig is up, it's like the thing is done. You are reality. So what is it that's looking for reality? What is the seeking of getting out of discomfort? Who is seeking? Where is the seeking arising from? Yeah. Are you seeking? Just straight to the sense of separation, the I, the me. Yeah. Because the ego that arises is only an issue, yeah, if it's arising to be seen to be yours. Mm-hmm. Because everybody else's mental system doesn't really bother me that much. Yeah. But mine seems to. My thoughts, my emotions, my feelings, my. The sense of separation is the my. Inquire straight into the my. Yeah. And when you see its illusoriness, your belief will be withdrawn from whatever comes after the my, meaning the mental system. And then let the thing play out from there. Have to see what we're not so that it can be negated. And then there you are, because you are already the reality. So as what is not reality, or what you're not, let's say the body, the mind, yeah, you cannot get to reality because you are reality already. Two-ness cannot get to not two-ness. It's on the system of two-ness, yeah. This is what the thing is saying, is that the head arose from separation. Separation being two-ness, being the root of discomfort or suffering, let's say, as they would say in Buddhism, yeah. The mental system arose from that separation. The separation is the root. Separation is taking not two and making it into two. So now there's a subject and there's an object. The subject being taken to be me, this body, the object being the world. Yeah. And then they bring in on a beautiful silver platter, they bring in anxiety about everything that's happening, actually everything that's not happening. Because the head is putting a bunch of meaning on all kinds of shit, and it's trying to control it, yeah, to suit what it wants. What it wants. Yes. And we call that what you want, or what I want, because if you're taking yourself to be the head, then everything it says is what you want. It's not what the head wants. Yes, there we go. That's why in like Faith Mind, I think they say, really get rid of the, or let go of the one who likes and dislikes. Yeah, look at your likes and dislikes. Because they don't care about the likes and dislikes, but it's really looking at the liker and the disliker. Yeah. The sense of separation, the I, the individual. And then like Ramesh says, you can let life flow from there. You can begin to withdraw belief from separation, essentially. The thing I find is so like dumbfounding to the head is you don't actually withdraw that. It's almost like inquiry. Non-duality is not like a practice, of course, but if there's anything that was to be quote unquote done, it's seeing that what you're not, which also you're not doing, you are doing. But anyways, that's a confusing way to put it. If there's anything that's being done, it's through negation. It's through seeing that you're not. And then it's almost like, in my experience, it's like the orange like peels itself. And then the whole thing kind of just like you just sit back into what's there. What remains is what you are, yeah? Yeah.